see our lovely bike lanes. You separate the bikes from the cars.
They did that in Melbourne too.
Generated a lot of angst in the city because businesses can't have people. And it's only about 4 or 5% of the population actually ride bikes. It's a lot of money for guys, right? Yeah. The male population. And I think, oh my goodness, it's going to be ages before you get through all these people. I said, no, they're just talking. You're up, sir.
It's just a social place.
Yes, it is. Remember when barbers were our therapists?
Yeah.
We were better.
I'm in retail, so I get a lot of women just coming in just...
Oh, everybody's got exactly. I think it's more stressful today.
It is, yeah.
I think this.
But we like it when they leave.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that will happen someday. I'll let my daughter.
I don't know.
And they have psychological warfare with each other too.
I think so.
I think they have it with themselves. New Zealanders, they're doing a cruise on the Inside Passage.
Yeah. Yesterday, I think.
Okay.
And it had to come in a low tide to get underneath the Lionsgate Bridge.
Well, I wasn't here last night. We were walking around here at night.
So one of the most beautiful walks in all of Vancouver, or bike ride, is from in front of this convention center all the way to Stanley Park and around Stanley Park. Anybody done that yet?
No.
What would be the reason that they turn it on?
Yes, my Australian girlfriend, she flew over to New Zealand when I sailed over to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And we did a 2-month hitchhiking tour through New Zealand.
North or South Island?
The South Island,
South Island.
mostly. I had the boat moored in Russell, Bay of Islands.
Oh, we...
Bling material, but I can't see a long term. Last year or the year before. Great aquarium in there. Like that. This is my daughter's favorite restaurant. Actually, I recommend it. Joe Forte's. Does his daughters do that?
She's not onto that one yet.
My wife says I shouldn't be so hard.
Do they have a market there or something?
Yeah, there's a big market.
Every day?
Yep. Every day.
We might go there later when we get back.
I can drop you off there if you want to do it
Oh, that'd be nice.
after. Been into any of our big markets, but if you want a nice fresh sandwich, almost all of them have lovely deli. Yeah. Are you ready for this? See this building here? YMCA. Anybody remember the group?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
How can you forget?
Alright, it's showing.
Yes, your age is showing.
Yep.
Actually joined this church when I was a youth, about 21 years of age, because there was a young lady that was a member there. And, but it didn't help me. It's okay. It's okay. They're waiting for the other shuttle. See this hospital? St. Paul's? First hospital built in Vancouver, built in 1887 by an order of nuns from San Francisco. I've had 2 back surgeries there. Both my mom and dad died there on the same emergency ward, a year and a day apart.
Oh,
I'm not mad at the hospital, it's just the way things worked out. thought that story would appeal to the single women here. That even though I joined the church, it didn't help.
But I think that after the president election from yesterday,
Oh yeah?
I think that they don't have to talk with the independentists to be president. So probably it will slow down.
Slow down,
Yeah.
not be a big issue anymore. I point out this building is just being finished now. Quite an interesting structure. They discovered a design flaw, and the design flaw cost $6 million to replace. If you look out to the west, you'll see English Bay, where freighters are waiting to go into Main Harbor. The west entrance to Falls Creek, and Granville Island is right under here.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great place, a lot of lovely restaurants, pubs, craft shops, higher quality than you'll find in Gastown. Lots of boats, both commercial and pleasure. And you can get a little sea bus from the Vancouver side to bring you over to Granville Island.
Those little ferry things.
Yeah, they're called aquabuses. English Bay was named in honor of a friendly meeting between Captain George Vancouver, who sailed for England, and Captain Valdez, who sailed for Spain at the time. They both anchored off the north arm of the Fraser River by UBC, University of British Columbia. And it was such a friendly meeting, they actually exchanged charts. Because Captain Vancouver was mapping the mainland, and Captain Valdez was mapping the Gulf Islands and the east coast of Vancouver Island. Must have been the only week that they were friendly back then. We have a big Spanish influence on our coast. Lots of names of our Gulf Islands are still Spanish. Really worth it. But because of that friendly meeting, they decided, in honor of that friendly meeting, they called the bay English Bay, and the beaches along Point Grey Spanish Bays. For you guys. Well, it's so close for you. Might be on the wrong channel. Anybody understand what he said? No? The barber shop I go to is 3 women from Vietnam run it, and they escaped Vietnam near the end of the U.S. police action there. Ended up in a refugee camp in Hong Kong for 10 years before they could come to Canada. So they didn't have it that easy. Nicer weather here, so it's, you can live outdoors more.
I heard this one they send a lot to Hawaii too.
Yeah, Hawaii is, well, like you say, it's like you say, everywhere has an issue. feel safe walking at night.
Yes, they were still walking 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Good morning, Jones. I got everybody on here, 3 stops, and we are on our way.
Yeah, that's our other driver. He's our fleet manager, Levy. He's Filipino. In fact, the Philippine population is our biggest immigrant group to Canada. A lot of people don't realize that. They think it might be Chinese or East Indian. Sorry, I can't use that term. South Asian. Gotta be politically correct, right? And the hardest question of all is, do you find...
We did ask for directions yesterday.
We used to have about 15 years ago, we had a pretty bad reputation actually for treating tourists, but we're a lot better at it now since this is our biggest industry. 50,000. It actually feels bigger, doesn't it? Yeah, Greater Vancouver is about 2 million, 2.5 million. And the province of British Columbia is 4 million. Anybody know the population of Canada? Don't we have any Canadians on board? They don't know, or they're just testing everybody else?
Maybe 30 million?
Yeah, that's pretty close. About 33, 35, somewhere in there. Pretty small population base. We're sort of like Australia in a way. Because what, you're 27 million?
Yes.
90% of your population lives within 100 miles of the coastline, right?
Yeah.
Well, 90% of our population lives within 100 miles of the U.S. border.
Oh, okay.
So we have a lot of unpopulated areas.
We're having to retire here soon. In the next 10 years.
I read the condensed history of Australia, by the way. It's only about that big. And I know I'm not supposed to talk politics, but even by 1872, if anybody's interested in my sailing story, there's a book. I wrote a book and I've got it for sale at the office. The same book. We're now leaving the city of Vancouver, going to the city of Richmond, where our international airport is located. The airport's on its own little island called Sea Island, and Richmond is on an island called Lulu Island. This is the north arm of the Fraser River. You'll be leaving from the south arm. This is only half the depth of the south arm, so you won't see freighters or larger vessels. You might see tugboats, log booms, sawdust barges, that sort of